We here at MaxTech have used quite a few projectors before, but never anything like these new portable laser projectors sent to us from our sponsor Nebula, the Capsule 3 laser, which is battery powered, and the Cosmos Laser 4K, which has incredible HDR. So to give both of these a proper review with all of our thoughts and suggestions, I went ahead and took the smaller one home to test out with my family, and let me tell you right now, I was blown away by the quality, the brightness, the battery life, the smoothness of the UI, and more. And then Max took the Cosmos home to his legit home theater with a huge projector screen, so he's gonna be sharing his thoughts and reviewing this one. But first, I've gotta talk about the Capsule 3 laser because it honestly blew me away, being by far the best projector I've seen or tested for multiple reasons. First of all, this thing is tiny. It's literally smaller than the coffee I got this morning. Check that out. You could probably fit this thing in your pocket. You know what? Let's do a test right here on camera. Yep. It fits in my pocket. But the crazy thing is that you don't need anything to set it up because it's basically a smart TV built into a portable projector with Android TV 11, which works great, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Now, the first time I tested this thing out, I set it up against the inside of a donut box and started streaming movies from basically any streaming platform like Netflix, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, or Apple TV+. But what really blew my mind about it was that it was that bright thanks to it being a laser projector and not LED like others on the market, and all while being completely battery powered. Yes, it has 2.5 hours of battery life, which is basically enough for most movies out there, and that's due to its laser engine technology being 1.8 times brighter than LED at the same wattage. Now, I tested it out in multiple locations, like at my mother-in-law's house in the basement using their projector screen, in my own living room against a quick hanging sheet solution over my fireplace, and I even took it outside and set it up against my white vinyl fence for a big screen experience with some blankets. And surprisingly, even though our Wi-Fi connection is terrible outside, I was able to connect it with no issues at all, with no buffering while streaming some cartoons on YouTube. And I love that the included remote has a little autofocus and auto keystone button that you simply press to refocus if it was bumped or moved without needing to go up to it and manually adjust it. And a nice little inclusion is a little mount on the bottom so you could set it up on a tripod for a more stable and higher up solution. On the back, you'll find an HDMI 2.1 port, which is really nice, and a USB-C port for either charging or even for connecting media, and an auxiliary port if you want to output the audio to a speaker system. But the one thing that shocked me the most was the built-in 8-watt speaker that not only got crazy loud, but the quality was also really good with a Dolby Digital Plus certification. Just hear it for yourself.
If we want to go fast, we need to transform.
Ooh, I know. We can be high-speed trains.
So because of that great sound quality, it also doubles as a Bluetooth speaker with 10 plus hours of battery life. Simply press this button on the back to go into Bluetooth speaker mode and connect to it. Now, the image quality itself was actually incredible with 1080p resolution and very impressive contrast and color reproduction with HDR10 plus certification, which looks great. And you could even expand out to a full 150-inch projector screen, which is massive. And finally, the last piece of the puzzle is the software and UI, because if it doesn't work well, it'll ruin the entire experience. But thankfully, the Android TV 11 software was very nice and responsive with no issues at all, along with a ton of different apps in the App Store to choose from, and I was pleasantly surprised by the remote and how reliable it was. And as the last little cherry on top, if you forget the remote, the Capsule 3 laser comes with touch controls on the top with navigation buttons, volume, and a back button as well. So after using it for a while, I've realized that this is basically the best all-around projector I could ever imagine due to the combination of the portability, the fact that it's battery powered, the speaker quality, the laser image quality, and the UI, basically making it a killer TV replacement for people like me who don't actually want a TV in their house. Now with that said, let's move over to Max for his review of the Cosmos Laser 4K before I get into the differences between the two.
Now, I do have multiple TVs in my house as well as a theater room, which I've dreamed about for over a decade. I love cinema, and I'm so blessed to be able to have a setup that our family can enjoy without having to go out to the theaters. Now, when I set this up just a year ago, I looked into laser projectors, but they were so expensive that I settled on a regular DLP 4K projector that was really well rated. But now Nebula released this 4K projector, which is not only laser, but it is also portable with a handle built into it. As far as physical connections, you have an aux, a USB, HDMI, and the power connector, and you get a 4K Android TV that pops into a hidden slot in the back, which means that you could theoretically swap it out in the future. Now it supports everything, including Netflix, which my projector doesn't for some reason. You get a smart remote as well as physical controls on the top, or you can just use their app, which is very convenient. Now I was blown away by the image, especially when you consider the price. My 4K projector, like I said, it's really well rated, but an issue with projectors is that blacks look great and that highlights don't pop much even with HDR. This is where the Nebula Cosmos 4K blew me away. Now you can't see the full difference recorded by a camera through YouTube's compression, but the contrast is better with blacks looking more black and shadow details having more gradation and separation. What's even crazier are the highlights, which blew my mind once I saw those first lightning bolts blasting across my screen. They are much brighter and actually look like true HDR from a really good TV compared to my DLP projector, which still looks flat even though it is technically HDR. The difference is massive. Not only that, but the color reproduction is amazing with the laser projector. Just look at the difference in colors with the HDR image. It is not only saturation or the brightness of the color, but the actual usable color range, like in this flower shot where my DLP projector looks mostly purple, but the laser has a wide gradient of colors. Now, the biggest nemesis to projectors is ambient lighting, which turns a good image to a super washed out one, as you guys could see. The Nebula isn't rated any brighter than my good 4K projector, but with ambient lighting, you could still see a brighter image with the brights popping more and better colors as well. So why is it such a big difference? Well, with the standard projector, you have one lamp that shines white light and then has to make color out of that, whereas here we have three lasers that output more light and color, resulting in a brighter, more contrasty, and more vivid and color accurate image the way that the filmmakers intended. And get this, the price of the Nebula Cosmos 4K laser projector is practically the same as my projector, which is why it is so special since other laser projectors are much more expensive. So you cannot get a better image for the price than with this. It's also portable and it has a 30-watt speaker system with two mid drivers that deliver surprising bass as well as two tweeters for the highs. Overall, the Nebula Cosmos 4K performed way better than I expected, and now I'll be replacing my DLP projector knowing just how much better the image looks in every way.
And now, if you're wondering what's different between these two Nebula projectors, the biggest difference is obviously the portability and the fact that the Capsule 3 laser is battery powered, offering more flexibility. The Cosmos Laser 4K is also much heavier, being 10.7 pounds instead of only around 2 pounds on the Capsule, and it's also quite a bit more expensive at $2,200 compared to $800 retail for the Capsule 3 laser. So basically, the Cosmos is meant for the high-end use cases where you can still take it with you on the go, while the Capsule 3 laser is more for the common family or person who wants not only a high-quality projector, but a smart one with Android TV that's incredibly easy to set up and put away with really good built-in speakers, and one that you can take anywhere with no wires, thanks to it being battery powered. So once again, thank you Nebula for sponsoring this review, and if you're interested in either of these two laser projectors, you'll find links to them down below in the description and pinned comment. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.